I don't know. I hope that that happens, but I don't know. It's probably not. So stupid men that are actually softies on the inside, which I stand, honestly. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Jocelyn Reads, and today I'm going to be doing my January TBR. And yeah, I am going back to school this month, as every college student is and every other student. We're going back from break, so I don't have too ambitious of a TBR. If you see my previous TBRs, I usually put maybe like 10 to 15 books on there. Okay, 15 is a bit of a stretch. I don't usually put 15, but I do put like a decent amount of books on there. But I am starting to figure out like my reading preferences as I'm in college, just like the way I can read as a university student. And I notice I usually read around, it depends on what I'm reading. So if I'm reading Kindle Unlimited, I can usually read around, I can get up to like 8 to 10 books if I'm reading Kindle Unlimited books, because those books are really easy for me to fly through, as I read romance faster than fantasy. But if I'm reading high fantasy, I'm usually going to get around 3 to 5 books a month, which is kind of low for me compared to my summer reading, because with my summer reading I usually read around 10 at the lowest. I know I went between like 10 and 15 books throughout the whole summer, but that was when I had more time to read. Obviously when I'm in school I don't have as much time. So yeah, I'm gonna start making my TBRs for when I'm in college, but I'm just gonna make them a little bit smaller because it's more realistic to what I'm gonna get to. Okay, so the first book I have kind of goes with two, like they go together, and it's because I'm reading a series right now, and these two are Golden Sun and Morning Star. Okay, so these are high fantasy books by Pierce Brown. I can't exactly give the synopsis of these, and I know I just mentioned that it's harder for me to read high fantasy while I'm in school, but I did read the first book, obviously, because I'm going to read these two. That book to me is more of a bridge between YA and adult, because it wasn't as hard for me to read as I read like Nevernight or City of Brass, but it definitely is an elevated and has more mature topics than something like, I don't know, Throne of Glass or ACOTAR. So yeah, it's some type of in-between that allows me to read it a bit faster than other adult fantasies, but it also grips me with the mature topics that proves that it is adult, even though it's easier to read than the other adult books that I've read so far. So the first book, Red Rising, is basically about a color-coded society where reds are the lowest and golds are the highest. And we follow this man named Darrow, who is a red, and he's working on Mars, as the reds are working on Mars, and they believe they're working on Mars to basically get it fit to live on, because obviously this is in the future and people are moving from Earth to Mars, and these reds are on Mars digging and making Mars livable for everyone else to come over. And in a turn of events, Darrow basically discovers that the reds are working towards a goal that has already been met years ago, and he figures out that they're basically slaves in this society and they're just the working class doing things that have no purpose. And upon this discovery, Darrow's basically reached out to by a rebel group and is asked to be turned into a gold and infiltrate the society. And it is so good. I would describe it as a mix between like Hunger Games, Divergent, like all those types of stories that from back in the day that we all loved, that I didn't think I would love reading now, but this high fantasy adult twist on it has really engaged me, and I just really loved it, and I'm excited to get to the second and third book in this series. Okay, so the next book that I want to read in January is actually The Diviners by Libba Bray. So this book takes place in the 1920s, so I thought it would be amazing to start off my new year and this new decade with a book from the 20s, because I think everyone's channeling the Roaring 20s this year. So I guess it just felt right to start off this book with something from the Roaring 20s and just get me in that mindset, even though the Roaring 20s probably wasn't the best decade for people like me, but we're gonna ignore that. So yeah, we're channeling Roaring 20s. So it follows this girl named Evie, and she has this supernatural gift in which she can basically read objects, and it also takes place during the Prohibition, and Evie likes to drink and go to parties, and at one party she performs this gift and she reads this object of this rich guy. What she reads is that he's being with someone else even though he's engaged to be married. She just blurts it out at this party because she's drunk and she wants to show off. And from this, she gets into a lot of trouble, and her parents send her away to New York so she's better. The brain cell was clearly missing, because why would you send her to New York? But I digress. She's actually really excited to go. So she ends up going to New York, and she has to live with her Uncle Will in this kind of weird, like, dark museum. And within like the first week of her being there, there's this murder, and she ends up going with her uncle to the crime scene, and she reads one of the objects on the victim, and she kind of discovers that her gift is actually really useful with these chain of murders that are going on in New York. All right, the next book that I'm going to read this month I also started, but I kind of put it down for The Diviners. I'm probably like 20 pages into it, but but I think everyone pretty much knows what this book is about. It's pretty old, and this book is basically a science fiction twist on the modern day like Cinderella. So this follows Cinderella, and in this book Cinderella is a cyborg. Cinder, as a cyborg, is a second-class citizen, and people don't really like to be around her, and she's kind of an outcast, except she's also a famous mechanic. So one day the Prince of the Kingdom comes to Cinder and he needs her to fix something for her, and from that encounter it kind of progresses to where Cinder is helping him solve this intergalactic struggle. And apparently this is supposed to be really good. The romance in these books are supposed to be top tier, so I'm really excited for that as a romance lover, and I cannot wait to finally read this one. So the next book I want to read this month is Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor, and this one has been a long time coming. Like, let me tell you, I read Strange the Dreamer over the summer. The ending wrecked me, and then I felt like I could not pick up this book, but I just feel like I really need to go ahead and read it, because I need to know that that was a joke and that Laini's gonna open up the first chapter of this and say, haha, JK y'all, here's your favorite character. I don't know. I hope that that happens, but I don't know. It's probably not. So, but I can't talk about this one obviously because it's the second book in the duology, but I'll give a synopsis of Strange the Dreamer instead. Strange the Dreamer follows this guy named Laszlo. So when Laszlo Strange was younger, he was absolutely obsessed with this city of Weep. He had this person in his life who told him about the city of Weep, and he would go out in the backyard and play like he was in the city and just like he was a part of the world. Except there was this event where Laszlo was out playing, and then suddenly he just forgot the name of the city, and everyone around forgot what Weep was. It just kind of disappeared from everywhere, disappeared from everyone's minds, and the only person who actually cared was Laszlo because of how connected he was to the city. He was the only person who wanted to know why that left their minds. He was the only person who wanted to solve the mystery. So Laszlo becomes a librarian, and it becomes his life's work to discover what happened to the city of Weep. And one day, people from the city waltz into town and take Laszlo back to the city. And it's just him discovering his love for this city and discovering the secrets of the city. And in discovering the secrets of this city, he discovers that God spawn and gods kind of have something to do with why the city went missing, what happened in the city, and it just turns out to be so good. It's so whimsical, it's so multi-layered, multifaceted, and I absolutely adored it. And the ending, like I said, killed me, but I cannot wait to get to the second book, and I would highly recommend Strange the Dreamer. So the next 3 books I have, I don't exactly have the physical copy. One of them I got from my library, like my whole just came in, but I have to go pick it up. And the other 2 are on my Kindle, which I actually got for Christmas, and I've been using this a lot more lately, especially with my Kindle Unlimited things. And I just have really been getting more into new adult now that I have a Kindle, because I cannot read my ebooks on my phone. Like, literally, it's just too small for me. I can't do it. So this Kindle helps me a lot, which is now why I'm going to be adding more Kindle Unlimited books to my TBRs. So the first Kindle Unlimited book that I want to read this month is Nordic King by Karina Hawley, or Hall. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but I really enjoy her works, and I'm kind of slowly making my way through all of her books on Kindle Unlimited and absolutely enjoying myself. So this one is an age gap romance, I'm pretty sure, as well as a hate to love. So we're basically following the King of Denmark, and his wife has passed away, and he has 2 daughters, and he needs someone to come in and help take care of the princesses. So our main character is a nanny, and she comes in and applies for the job, and initially the king says no straight out. And we obviously know this is because he's attracted to her, and he doesn't want to be attracted to her because he is still mourning his wife, except she basically ends up getting hired, and there's this like tense romance between the 2, because obviously he doesn't want to like her because he is still mourning his wife, and he wants to respect his wife who has passed away, but he has this undeniable connection with her. And I'm really excited for this because it has 2 of my favorite tropes. One that I just figured out that I really like, and it's a single father. Like, I don't know, that's kind of weird, but there's just something about a single father that I like. I don't know, it's weird. I feel weird saying that, but every single time I read it in a romance, I just love it, just because I love seeing the guy interact with kids, and I love seeing the woman come in and kind of connect with the kids and love them like they're her own. And it's just, I don't know, man, it just makes me emotional. Okay, I just really like it. And then the other trope that it has that I love is hate to love. So I feel like this could potentially be a 5-star for me, even though it's hard for me to get 5 stars when I read the books from Kindle Unlimited, because they're just really hit or miss for me. Okay, so the next book I'm going to be reading this month is From Luke Off With Love by Mariana Zapata, and I am so excited for this one. I've only read one of Mariana's books, but I absolutely adored it. Even though I'm not a fan of slow burn, this one was just so well written. The romance was so well crafted that I just have to read all her works. And the one that I did read was The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. This one is basically a figure skating romance, and the synopsis doesn't give that much away, so I'm not sure exactly what it's about, but I'm kind of getting the same kind of The Wall of Winnipeg and Me vibes, where there's this woman and she's a figure skater and she somehow has to work with a arrogant idiot just like The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. And I kind of just think that's Mariana's specialty, honestly, just like stupid men that are actually softies on the inside, which I stand, honestly. But yeah, this basically follows how Jasmine, the figure skater, has to somehow work with this guy named Ivan. It doesn't even say really who Ivan is in the synopsis, if he's another figure skater or something, I'm not sure. But in some context, Jasmine has to end up working with Ivan because she gets this opportunity, and he's a part of the opportunity to help her obviously succeed in it. And it just sounds like it's gonna be so cute. I feel like it's gonna be, I don't know if it's gonna be hate to love, but it does say that she wants to push him in front of a bus, so probably is hate to love, but I know it's also going to be just an extremely well-crafted slow burn, and I'm really excited to get to it. Okay, and the last book that I want to read this month that I mentioned before, I got a hold from it in my library and I'm going to go pick it up, is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstein. I actually have not read any of Erin Morgenstein's works, but I do want to start off with this one because it reminds me of Strange the Dreamer, and I kind of want those whimsical vibes this January, I guess, because I'm also reading Muse of Nightmares. So yeah, this book is basically about a grad student who finds this book, and he begins to read the book, and as he reads the book he discovers that it's mentioning some things from his past life, and it's kind of a book about his life, and he's just kind of confused because he's like, what is this? And he finds these clues that kind of lead him to this party in New York, and he's just basically following a lot of clues from there to figure out what this book is, what is going on. And it just sounds really whimsical. It kind of reminds me of like Strange the Dreamer, you know what I mean? It's also another adult book, which I'm really excited for just because I've just been loving adult. Like, I think this year is going to be the year of me reading adult, which also means I'm probably going to read 2 books, but it's fine. We're fine. Alright, so those are all the books that I want to read this month. I'm really excited to get into them and kind of give you guys my thoughts. Hopefully I'll be doing some vlogs where I'm reading them. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And all my links are down below, including my Goodreads if you want to add me on there and kind of see. Because I've been becoming more active on my Goodreads and updating more. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!